Hello there, everybody, and welcome to a rather unusual episode of Serious Competition, the competitive gaming series where no one knows what they're doing and all basic logic and strategy is thrown out the window. Anthony joining you once again, and as I've said in the past with Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos, that only applies to people who regularly appear on the channel, such as myself. Because today's episode isn't like live gameplay per se, but rather me commentating over games that I previously played, because last night I played one of the best matches I have ever gotten to play, and I figured it'd be fun to just commentate over it and share it with you guys because it was just that good. So I was using my Machina deck in this, and I've shared my Machina deck before, but there's actually been some changes, so quickly doing a card by card. 3 Citadel, it's our main beater. It has a popping, or has a board wipe effect, has a summoning effect that can bring itself out if something gets popped, so that's fun. 2 Aerator, I don't really use this for the effect anymore, so that's why I cut it down to 2, but having a 2600 defender is always a good thing, so that's fun. 3 Irradiator, I use this effect more frequently. It has slightly lower defense, but we can gear into whatever we need to with the side deck, so 3 Irradiator to start and 2 Aerator to start, so I can kind of do whatever I want. 3 Fortress, another big beater, has some destruction effects, can get summoned from the graveyard, that's always fun. 2 Metal Cruncher, excuse me. Nice opener, nice tribute fodder to get Fortress out. Well, not technically tribute fodder, but you understand what I mean. It's a way to get Fortress out, so that's fun. 3 Possessed Storage, fish stuff out of the graveyard, and the second effect actually did come up during the match at one point, so that's fun. It actually did something, so yeah. 2 Resavenger, just as a battle trap, and also as a way, just as another level 4, and something that I can recur back to my hand if I need to. 2 Anchor Drill, so if I have multiple machines in hand and I don't have a way to special summon out something like Possessed Storage, I can use this to special summon it out, and plus, it allows me to go into either level 4 or level 8 Xyzs, because sometimes it's hard getting both Aerator and Irradiator, or 2 copies of them, onto the field, so this is just another option to go into our level 8 Xyzs, and rounding out the monsters, 2 Ash Blossom, because Ash Blossom. For the spells, 2 or 3 Redeployment, because if you're playing Machina, you're playing 3 Redeployment, 3 MST, aka 3 copies of I don't give a f*** about your Mystic Mine, get that shit out of here. 2 Defense Perimeter. Yeah, in case it ain't apparent, I hate Mystic Mine. That card needs to be banned. 2 Defense Perimeter because attack redirects and also extra recursion from the graveyard, so I can pick up something like a Resavenger. Or does this allow me to pick up Anchor Drill? It does allow me to pick up Anchor Drill, so that's fun. 2 Armored Unit if I'm going up against a beatdown deck and I constantly need to be putting monsters out. That's fun, so I can go Citadel into Metal Cruncher, into Aerator or Irradiator, into Fortress, into Anchor Drill. So there's that. 2 Iron Call if I need to pull either a Possessed Storage or a Resavenger out of the graveyard for an Ixie summon with Anchor Drill, or if I need to pull out another copy of Anchor Drill if I just want to bring out a level 4 Ixie, so there's some options there. And then moving on to the traps, 3 Overdrive, because it's 3 Overdrive, it's a way to essentially turn a, pretty much anything into a Citadel, so that's fun. And then 3 Solemn Strike for effect negation primarily, and also some special summon negation, so that's fun. Looking at the side deck, 1 Aerator. If the third Irradiator isn't working out, I can pull this in. An extra Metal Cruncher if I need that for whatever reason. Extra Resavenger if I need the Battle Trap effect more often. Extra Anchor Drill if that's proving to be handy in a game. 3 Gear Frame if Anchor Drill isn't working out, I can swap into this and just have, pulling to the hand instead of special summoning if Anchor Drill just really isn't working out in a matchup due to whatever reason. Another Iron Call if that's becoming prevalent. Another Defense Perimeter if that's becoming prevalent. 3 Limiter Removal if I need a finisher of some sort, just, to clean something up. And then 3 Back to the Front because if I need extra graveyard recursion, this is a decent option for it. So that's the side deck. For the extra deck, 2 Anger Knuckle to get extra Citadels on the field. 3 Iron Wolf as a big beater, and also I have the ability to make a Citadel attack directly, so that's always fun. And also, fishing out level 4 machines, that's always a good thing, so I can fish out an Anchor Drill or something. 2 Dreadnought, this is a new addition. Basically, if I don't have the ability to get multiple Citadels out, I'll use this to get into one of my rank 10 Ixies, so that's fun, and also has built-in destruction negation. Agent of the Sea Castrum, I'm not sure if this is going to stay in here for much longer, but it is a fun thing to use, just to banish extra deck monsters, have a way to pop some of their extra deck monsters, so that's fun. And it's a pretty big defender as well. I think it's the biggest defender in this deck. It's tied for that for sure. Dingirsu, it also has destruction negation and also can pop cards. And what's the other effect? Oh yeah, attach banished machine monster. So if my opponent's playing something that banishes, I have a way to recur banished monsters in a way aside from overdrive. So that's fun, I guess. 2 Gustav Max, just because it's Gustav Max. I mean, you kind of have to if you have the ability to play rank 10 Ixies, because 2,000 free damage, who's going to say no to that? 1 Gengaridai, I've cut this down from 2, just because I wanted to squeeze in Super Dimensional Robot Galaxy Destroyer. I'm actually thinking about cutting Iron Wolf down to 2 and then either putting in an extra copy of Gengaridai or Galaxy Destroyer. We'll see what happens. I still have to do some more testing with this, but Gengaridai we're keeping similar to Gustav. It inflicts direct damage, pops cards, and then Super Dimensional Robot Galaxy Destroyer. I mean, it destroys all spell traps. It's basically a one-sided heavy storm, so that's fun. And also 5,000 attack, and because it can be chained in with Dreadnoid, I don't even need to get all 3 Citadels on the field. I just need to get 2 level 4 monsters and then destroy something in battle, so is it cheesy? Yes. Do I care? No. I haven't gotten a chance to bring it out yet, but it seems like fun, so we'll see what happens. But anyways, enough with this rambling. On with the gameplay. Okay, so here we are in game 1, so I'm just going to be clicking through the play, so if you hear a clicking noise in the background, that is just my mouse. You'll have to forgive me for that. But starting off, I did manage to win RPS, and I ended up going second. So 42 card deck on their side, 40 card on my side. Standby main, nothing too much happens. Pot of Extravagance, I mean, it's Pot of Extravagance. What are you going to expect? I mean, it's pretty good, so yeah. And then I see this, and I'm like, Altergeist, are you kidding me? Because I know Altergeist was pretty good at one point, but I don't think it is now in terms of the greater scheme of the meta. But if I see anything that is associated with meta, I instantly flip out. I'm like, oh no, this is not going to end well at all. He fires off Marionetter's effect, and I think he pulls a, protocol out, so effect negation. That actually comes into play later, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it, and he ends up setting 3. That's his turn. During my turn, I draw Iron Call. Not exactly the most ideal thing in the world. Moving on to my main one, I activate Metal Cruncher, call its effect, and then Infinite Impermanence shows up, so I'm like, oh, lovely. But I still have another play, which is getting a Radiator out by sending Citadel to the graveyard. And then I do activate Armored Unit. He fires off Anti-Spell Fragrance. Thankfully, I didn't have to set Armored Unit, but it just means that any spell I set in the future, or any spell I want to play in the future, has to be set. So, yeah, that's fun. And we had a discussion in the chat about that, because I wasn't too sure. Battle Phase hit over Marionetter, and he takes 1,200. And they thought that it was 1,200, not 200. I think I might have said 1,200 there, but Machina's, or Metal Cruncher's at 1,800, not 2,800, due to normal summoning it without tributing, so yeah, they only lost 200. Moving to main 2, I set Solemn Strike, Iron Call, and end turn. Moving on to their draw phase. Main 1, nothing too much happens, except then, I don't know how you pronounce that, but it's an attack redirector, so that's fun. They bring that out, and then Manifestation fires off. So on the very next play, he brings out, on the very next play, of course it's the next play. He brings out Marionetter with it, and I'm thinking, do I want to let this stick? Yeah, no. I call Solemn Strike, and yeah, negate the summon. There's a brief discussion about if that actually could happen or not. I mentioned that I declared it on the special summon and not the activation of the trap. So that goes away. Then they bring it back because they were going to activate Protocol and tribute off whatever this is, but then we realized that you cannot use a continuous trap to negate a counter trap because continuous traps are spell speed 2 and counter traps are spell speed 3. So there's that. So that comes back, and then they tribute that off, or that's dead no matter what, and that's the end of the turn. So draw phase, Fortress comes out, and I'm thinking, well, I have no way to get this out, so that's unfortunate. Main 1, I put a chip on Metal Cruncher just as a reminder that it has minus 1,000 attack because of its effect. And I'm looking at the extra deck here for a bit. I decide to link summon out Anger Knuckle here just as a way to get Citadel on the field and Fortress in the graveyard. He activates Protocol and the effect is negated and Anger Knuckle is destroyed, which is unfortunate, but Citadel comes out. So either way, I was getting a Citadel, but now I have an attacker instead of a Citadel in defense position, so maybe that was a misplay on their part. I don't know. They're just looking at something. They were just reading the effect. Battle phase takes 300 to the dome, so that's fun. Next play, nothing actually happens. So end phase, their turn, draw. Let's see what happens. And I honestly don't remember what half of this stuff happened, or bleh. I can't speak to save my life. I don't remember half of the stuff that happened, so I'm watching this basically with you again. So pulls out this monstrosity, and I'm like, what the hell is this thing? So basically it just allows you to bounce things back, and yeah, that was a hunk of text to read. And I thought BFA cards had a lot of text to read, so if any Bayformers community members are watching this, I'm not saying hunk of text on those cards are a bad thing. It's just a little ungodly to look at first, but you do you. Anyway, so giant hunk of text is on the field, and he declares it, bounces Citadel back to hand, which is unfortunate. Then Marionetter comes back out, fires that off, and I don't remember what they set. They set another manifestation, so there's another recursion, excuse me. 1600 to the dome on my end, and things are pretty tight as I only have a 100 life point lead. Main 2, nothing happens, so moving on to my turn, and I draw another copy of Citadel, which is unfortunate. But I have a way out of this, I think. So basically what I do is I try to activate Anchor Knuckles' Graveyard effect, and it goes off. He doesn't activate Protocol, so that's fun. I fire off, or then discard another Citadel to bring out Fortress, and they fire off Protocol, so yeah, Fortress is not on the field, but that's a 1500 to the dome, so albeit I forgot about the fact that they fired off Manifestation, so Faker, or Marionetter, not Faker, Multi-Faker, that's what it's called. Marionetter comes on the field, the attack fails, and it is now their turn, so they draw. This thing comes out, Maluseek, so attacking directly, and it can pop cards, that's fun. Battle phase, I take 500 to the dome. Still a pretty close match. And they pop armored unit. Makes sense. And then I lose Anger Knuckle. So that gets destroyed. But Citadel's Graveyard trigger fires off. And they activate Protocol. So I don't get it. I keep forgetting about that. Anchor Drill comes out. And I typed in the chat at this point. Repeatedly bangs head against table. And hopefully... I just noticed something on the OBS recording. Hopefully, if you saw a red box around this redacted box over here, forgive me for that. I'm bad at things. So, anyways, repeatedly banging my head against the table because I drew this Anchor Drill. Trying to think, is there any way for me to get out of this? I figured it'd be best just to keep Anchor Drill in hand because barring any crazy plays happening, I can take another attack. Battle phase, I get hit for 1600. Nothing I can do about that. So moving on to my draw step, MST. That's pretty decent to see. I end up popping Protocol. He activates, or they activate Personal Spoofing, so they get to shuffle Altergeist cards in. Either way, it's off the field, but Multi-Faker comes out, and off that, Multi-Faker, again, like I said, comes out, and who did they end up pulling out with this? Oh, this guy. Yeah, this thing was annoying as hell. I'll just say that much. So that's fun. I end up setting Anchor Drill just to avoid an attack because that would be game right there. And moving on to their turn, they activate Silquidus, I think that's how you pronounce it. And I knew they were just going to pop my thing back, and I would lose the game pretty much no matter what. So that was game 1. It was close, I will admit. It was close until the game blew wide open from Personal Spoofing. But if I'm gonna lose, I want to lose like that. So that's game 1. Moving on to game 2. Okay, so here we are at game 2. So again, I lost the last one, so I got the call. I decided to go first just to see what would happen. And looking at this hand, there's at least some stuff I can do. So going into main 1, I activate Redeployment, chuck an Overdrive because that's really not going to be serving any purpose right now. Grab a Citadel, grab a Fortress, and you can probably see where this is going. So after shuffling up, they asked me a question about whether I played Trains in here or just Pure Machina. I play Trains in the extra deck, but not in the main deck. Except, well, it's pure Machina except for Infinite, that Anchor Drill, so there's that. Metal Cruncher comes down, effect goes off, and no Infinite Impermanence this time. So 2 Anchor Drill and a Possessed Storage for that effect, since you can cheese that if you have 3 copies of a card in the deck. I end up getting an Anchor Drill off that, and I send Citadel to summon out Fortress. Put a chip on there just as a reminder that the attack is lower. Set MST, and I believe that was a back to the front. Yes, it was. And next, or I probably would help if I actually click the button. Going off to my opponent's turn, the Bouncer comes back, so albeit they don't actually activate it. What's this thing called? Marionetter. I'm actually recording this a couple hours after I recorded the commentary on the first game, so it's been a hot minute, but what's this thing called again? Manifestation comes down, so that's fun. Sets 2 more, and then sends the Beast into Fortress. So, but then Fortress goes off, I pop their anti-spell fragrance, and then Citadel's Graveyard effect triggers, so I have that on the field, and that forces them to bounce it back to the hand. So, that's fun. Albeit, if you know anything about Fortress, I could just discard Citadel, get Fortress right back out, so that's fun. So, going into main 1, I think I do exactly that. Oh, nope, I forgot, I activated MST first. So, there goes their Altergeist Protocol, which, that's a good thing to see. So, MST goes away, and Fortress is back, so that's fun. And then back to the front, and I bring out Citadel here. So, got a pretty decent board state right now, so this is looking good. Metal Cruncher goes into Marionetter, and then Fortress sends 2,500 to the Dome. So things are looking pretty good here. Significant life point lead, but during the end phase, we get almost called it Multifaker, Manifestation, and Marionetter is back. So that's fun. No effects to deal with that. Oh yeah, and then Multifaker actually does come out, so that's fun. And I do not end up Ash Blossoming this, because I have Citadel on the board, so I can just nuke them. During the standby phase, I fire off Citadel, and then a weird chain of events happens, so Citadel pops itself, but then, I think, okay, so Quintus fires off, sends Multifaker back to the hand, and then he ends up sending Fortress back to the hand. Multifaker's in the hand, Marionetter and Silquitus are now in the graveyard, so that's fun, I guess. During main 1, we see another Marionetter come down, and I believe, yep, they set a protocol. So that's good. And that ends the turn. Okay, as I accidentally hit right-click something. So looking at this now, standby main, activate redeployment. I believe I pitched the Fortress. They activate protocol, so effects are kind of offline, sort of. Grab a Citadel and a Possessed Storage here. If I can get through here. So on that, Multifaker is back, but this time I was smart enough to activate Ash Blossom, so that doesn't go through. Bring out Anchor Drill, and then summon Possessed Storage. Now, there was a bit of a misplay on their end at this point, because what they should have done is fired off Protocol, popped one of their monsters, stopped Possessed Storage, then I would have had a slightly smaller board. But they let Possessed Storage go, which means that I get to pull Citadel out, and then since I have another Citadel in hand, I get to pull Fortress out of the graveyard, so if we can get through some stuff here. Okay, so Fortress is on the field. These two would not be here had they popped or fired off Protocol and popped Possessed Storage. And also, it would have prevented what I'm about to do next, which is bring out Dreadnoid. Now, I make a bit of a misplay here as well, but we'll get to that in a moment. So Dreadnoid's on the field, Metal Cruncher's on the field, Fortress and Citadel also there, but Citadel cannot attack. Going into battle phase, Metal Cruncher goes into Multifaker, that attack fully resolves. Dreadnoid goes into Marionetter, that attack fully resolves, and then Fortress sends in for 2,500 to the Dome. However, I made a misplay, didn't realize that in this moment that Protocol requires a Altergeist card to be on the field, and it's essentially tributed in order to fire its negation effect. So I actually could have ended it here by using Dreadnoid's ability to summon out Gustav, but mistakes were made, and it actually didn't matter, as you'll see why in a second. So going into my opponent's turn, Pot of Extravagance comes down, as you might expect, because Pot of Extravagance is amazing. And then the Beast is back. Dreadnoid goes back to the extra deck. Now, Possessed Storage and Infinite Tracker in the graveyard. There's 2 sets. They set a monster, and it is now my turn. I draw a Machina Defense Perimeter. I believe I said it. Nope, I fired off Overdrive's graveyard effect first. I had some issues on my end there, so that was what the furious clicking was for. So Overdrive sends Citadel, Anchor Drill, and Possess Storage back to the deck, and I draw a Fortress. So looking at things here, I realize I just set Citadel to attack, deploy Defense Perimeter, and Metal Cruncher goes into the Silquitus, that's what it's called. And then, yeah, that's game because Fortress or Citadel just attacks straight in, and that pretty much does it for Game 2. So it's tied at 1-1 apiece, on to Game 3. Okay, so Game 3. I've played 2 of my best games, even though I lost one. This is some of the most fun I've had in Yu-Gi-Oh! In a long time, especially considering a lot of people on Dueling Book just do not understand the concept of not being snarky and respecting your opponent, and understanding misreads can happen. So, and also they don't understand the concept of Mystic Mine not being a fun card for anyone. Anyways, so, looking at what happens here, I think I ended up going second here. Yep, this was not my decision, so going second. So, standby main, nothing happens. Let's see here. Okay, so essentially a T-set, except not in the classic T-set formation. You just saw what those were, I guess. Draw an Ash Blossom. Anchor Drill comes down. Activates Personal Spoofing. So, sends Silquitus back to the deck, shuffles up, and, oh no, adds a Multi-Faker to the hand, and shuffles up there. So now Fortress comes down, Multi-Faker comes out, and I ash that effect because I do not want Silquitus back on the field. And then I send in, Anchor Drill into Multi-Faker, that's 600. Let's see, I set Overdrive and Iron Call, we've seen that play before, and End Phase. So moving on to my opponent's turn, draw standby main. I don't know how you pronounce that, gets flipped up. Personal Spoofing fires off, this goes back to the deck, Meluseek gets added to the hand. I'm pretty sure that comes down. Oh no, Alpha comes down, so that effect fires off. Except it doesn't because I chain Overdrive to essentially prevent the target. And let's see here. They brought it down for whatever reason, but it didn't really matter. So Metal Cruncher comes out instead. I fire that off. And, oh yeah, they had Ash Blossom. I'm like, I was thinking for a moment, do they have Infinite Impermanence? No, they have a card on the field. They had the Ash Blossom. So Metal Cruncher doesn't get its effect off, but it's still at its full 2,800, so that's at least a positive, except Meluseek is on the field, so it's not like it really matters. So nothing else happens. 500 to the dome, and what got pinged here, or what got popped? Okay, the face down got popped. Iron Call is gone. Main 2, I don't think anything happens. Meluseek actually got sent off. Not sure. Oh, he brought out Link Karibo. Forgot about that. So Meluseek got sent to the graveyard. You can add an Altergeist monster from your hand to your hand. So, Conqueri? I think that's how you pronounce it. I have no idea. I'm not going to even try. That ends the turn, though. So, looking at my hand, this is not exactly the most optimal situation ever. View my graveyard a few times. Battle phase, I just send Anchor Drill into Link Karibo. Fires it off, doesn't take any damage. But then I just send Metal Cruncher in for 2,800 to the dome. So, then I set that other Iron Call just to try and scare him. And that ends my turn. So, things moving along fairly decently. Another card added. Pot of Extravagance, it looks like off the top. So, banishes 6. I don't have the Ash Blossom, so they just draw 2. Then they bring out Alpha again, fire that effect off, and Metal Cruncher is back in the hand, which is kind of good, kind of bad. Personal Spoofing to shuffle whatever that was back in, and then add Marionetter to hand. Then Marionetter comes down. I'm pretty sure it was, yeah, Protocol gets set, so that's fun. Another face down comes, and another, They did something, I'm not sure what it was, something with artifact size, I'm not sure. They said, damn, that was a waste, lol, I was gonna set it, they must have just misclicked something and just said forget it. Anyways, main 1. Activate Defense Perimeter, discard Metal Cruncher to bring out Air Raider. Battle phase, Anchor Drill hits over Altergeist, or almost called Altergeist, hits over Marionetter, and that's an additional 200 to the dome. Well, not to the dome, technically, just indirect. You know what I mean. Anyways, that ends my turn because Air Raider is in defense position because I am not putting that thing in attack unless I could attack for game. Main 1, let's see, Personal Spoofing gets fired off, however you pronounce that, goes back into the deck. And what do they pull out of this? Multi-Faker. Shocker. So Multi-Faker is there. Alpha comes down, not firing the effect, but just attacking straight into Air Raider. That gets destroyed. Defense Perimeter fires off, and I add Metal Cruncher back to my hand. And if I'm not mistaken, I had a Citadel. Nope, I did not have a Citadel in the graveyard, so that will end my turn. I draw a redeployment, so that's nice. So Metal Cruncher is back in the graveyard. Protocol gets changed, but it doesn't really do anything here. It's just activating for the sake of activating. And Possessed Storage and Citadel getting added to the hand, and Multi-Faker comes down on the trap activation. That effect fires off, and Silquitus comes onto the field, so it's the usual 3-card setup we see, except Marionetter is replaced with Alpha, so that's fun. No response on that. Possessed Storage comes down. I do not fire the effect because I'm not stupid. Citadel gets sent to the graveyard, brings out Fortress. They don't fire Protocol, so that's interesting. Decide to overlay these two, and I bring out Iron Wolf, not Dreadnought. I still thought... Actually, no. In this situation, bringing out Dreadnought would have been a bad idea, because if I wanted to trigger the effect, I couldn't, because they have 2 Altergeist monsters on the field, so that's fun. And as Personal Spoofing, it is not treated as an Altergeist card, it looks like. So Iron Wolf is on the field, plus if, whatever reason, they had a ability that set Iron Wolf to defense, it would be a higher defense, so there's that. And it adds Machine-type monsters from my deck to my hand, so that's fun. I don't think I did anything else. So Battle Phase, I send Iron Wolf into Silquitus. Multi-Faker gets sent back to the hand. Iron Wolf goes back to the extra deck. Fortress goes into the Silquitus, and that destroys it. Main 2, I activate Overdrive's effects, and Anchor Drill, Possessed Storage, and Metal Cruncher back to the deck. Shuffle up, and I end up drawing Irradiator. I accidentally shuffled twice there. I misclicked something, so... Okay, it is any machine monster. For a second, I thought it was Earth Monster, and I'm like, oh, did I just realize I cheated in hindsight? But thankfully I didn't, so that will end my turn. Moving on to my opponent, Anti-Spell Fragrance gets popped up. Not really a big deal, honestly. Alpha gets declared, Fortress gets sent back to the hand. Honestly, not too big of a deal because I have an Irradiator that I can use to immediately summon it out. Let's see, Meluseek comes out, and I think it just goes straight to Battle Phase. Take 500 to the Dome, and Defense Perimeter is gone. Main 2, nothing else happens, so moving on to my turn. Possessed Storage, Fortress, Irradiator, pretty interesting hand, so stand by main. And Fortress gets sent to the graveyard for Irradiator, and then I believe I summon Possessed Storage here. No effect. They activate Personal Spoofing just as a way to, I think, better counter what was coming down onto the field, so Marionette gets added to the hand. Multi-Faker comes down, and they add another Silquitus, I believe. Yep. Where have we seen this before? I couldn't tell you. But, Possessed Storage goes into Multi-Faker. Multi-Faker gets bounced, and so does Possessed Storage. Main 2, I don't believe I have anything else, and I do not, so we move on to my opponent's turn. 5 cards in hand. Used formerly 6, now 5. Main 1, Marionetter comes down, and then Silquitus. I'm sorry if it's stuttery. I'm trying to keep up with this and get this thing done as soon as I can. They bounce Protocol, it looks like, back to the hand, and Irradiator goes back as well. Battle Phase, they take 1,600 to the Dome. Main 2, they set another card, and it will be my turn. Solemn Strike in hand, not looking too good. I discard Irradiator to activate Fortress. They fire off Protocol, so that effect doesn't go off. Possessed Storage fires. Multi-Faker comes out first, and I'm not sure what they... Oh, they bring out Meluseek again. Does that have to be in defense position? Yes, it does. So, Multi-Faker and Meluseek are on the field. Possessed Storage comes out. I am free to activate effects because Protocol is once per turn. Citadel is now on the field. Possessed Storage, I actually popped that and sent Citadel back to my hand. That's where the second effect came in. I returned, whatever that was, Manifestation, back to the hand. So then I'm thinking here, I was looking something up at this point to see if I could use Fortress more than once per turn, and I can. Thankfully, my opponent said, yes, you are correct on that, so I discard Citadel to bring out Fortress. So, Fortress is apparently a play around for Altergeist Protocol, I guess. Anyways, so Battle Phase, Possessed Storage hits into Meluseek, and Fortress hits over, oh, whatever this thing is comes down. They activate that, so, yeah, that gets brought to the field, attack is negated, and, yeah. So, main 2, I set that strike, and end my turn. Moving on to my opponent's turn. Let's see, what happens first? Check graveyard a couple of times. Marionetter comes down, and we see another spell trap. No, we don't. Solemn Strike gets activated, because that is not going to be fun for anyone. Manifestation still fires off, so Marionetter is back, I think. Yes, that would be correct. And another spell trap gets set. 2 cards get tributed. I believe that is a Link Summon coming down. Yes, it is. Altergeist Hextia, I think that's how you pronounce it. Okay, so a little bit of lag happened. I removed that chip from Fortress because the effects are back. It was a once per or until the end of the turn thing. Hextia is currently at 2,700 thanks to her ability. So I take 1,100. Possess Storage is gone. Citadel. I was going to activate Citadel, but then I remembered it's only Earth monsters that trigger his effect. So that's fun. Main 2, nothing else happens. So we draw an Anchor Drill. Activate Iron Call. Bring out Possess Storage. So that's fun. And then Anchor Drill comes down. Not gonna, or actually I can't resolve the effect because I have nothing in hand. And at this point I mentioned here that I misplayed. I don't remember what the misplay was. Let's take a look here. Let's see if we can try to figure it out. Okay, so while editing this, I realized the misplay, and that was summoning out Possess Storage with Iron Call in defense position. Had I summoned an attack position, taking Silquitus into consideration, I would have had 2 attacks instead of 1. So, yeah, that was a huge mistake on my end, but, hey, misplays happen, so not really much we could do with hindsight, so moving on. So, anyways, battle phase. Send Anchor Drill into Multi-Faker, and then, try to send Fortress into Hextia, but, Fortress gets bounced thanks to, Silquitus. And then I overlay these 2 into a Dreadnoid. Don't know why I did that in particular. Probably should have done Iron Wolf. But mistakes were made. Personal Spoofing comes back. Protocol gets sent to the graveyard. Mellow Seek is in the hand. And I believe that comes down. Oh, that was all during my end phase. I forgot about that. So, main 1. 1 card gets set. Mellow Seek comes down. Silquitus to attack position. I go for 5. I take 500 to the dome, and Dreadnoid is gone. I try to negate the effect, but then Hextia fires off and negates the activation, except for the fact that Mellow Seek does not destroy. It sends to the graveyard, so it's not like I even could have done it with Dreadnoid in the first place. So, skipping through all this. So, Mellow Seek is still on the field. Dreadnoid's in the graveyard. So yeah, everything is correct. So, just Dreadnoid is destroyed. And then I take 800 from Silquitus, and then an additional 2,000, technically 1,500 from Hextia, and that does it for the game. Now, again, I lost. I'm not sure what the misplay was there, but at the end of the day, this was one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Matches I have ever played. We were both respectful to each other, that's first and foremost. It was a back-and-forth affair on both ends. We both made misplays, we both had huge plays, we both got stuff out that we wanted to. And even though, again, at the end of the day I lost, this is how Yu-Gi-Oh! Should be. If you're gonna lose, this is how it should be. And if you're gonna be winning like this is how you act. You don't, well, yeah, that's how you act. And also, I misread a couple of things, and my opponent was extremely respectful about it, unlike some people who just do not understand the concept of sportsmanship and respect. Like this one guy that I played against, he just kept spamming stuff in the chat, kept randomly flipping coins, and then also accused me of getting salty when I lost, even though he was being a total So, yeah, some people in Dueling Book just need to get their act together. This person was not one of them. They need to keep doing what they're doing, because these are the kind of people I like to see in gaming communities. The ones who basically, when they win, they're respectful about it, they're having fun, and basically they open up the game for both people to play. Even though I know it technically in competitive that's not a good thing, but when both people are playing the game to their best extent, that's really when the game is at its strongest. At least that's the way I view it. So, anyways, I've talked enough, so hopefully you enjoyed this little commentary thing. Sorry if it was disjointed, but I kind of had to for this style of video in order to get it out quickly, because I just could not wait to share this, because, again, this was such a fun game. So, hopefully you enjoyed what you saw here today. Like I said before, if you did enjoy it, there's a little red button, and that will do it for this video. Peace out, y'all.